Welcome to the Halliwell Manor. I'm Max.
And I'm Tina.
And we're here to talk about Season 2, Episode 6 of Charmed.
That old black magic.
Okay, I really like this episode.
I did too. This was an enjoyable episode. This episode was directed by James L. Conway, who we've seen before. He directed The Wendigo.
Oh, it's a fun, bad episode.
Yeah. And, okay, this episode was written by sisters, Valerie and Vivian Mayhew, who have done one other episode of Charmed, one episode of The X-Files, and one episode of The Fugitive, and that is all I could find out about them online.
Mysterious.
I needed to know more about them because Valerie and Vivian Mayhew is the witchiest sounding names. I don't know. I wanted to know more. There was no more that I could find. The end.
We really needed this episode after last week.
Yeah.
After she's a man baby, which... Did we point out that was an Austin Powers reference?
No, we didn't.
Because that title was an Austin Powers reference, which...
Yeah, I know. I kind of...
God, that should have been the time for you, shouldn't it?
Ugh, I guess so. Honestly, when I posted that episode, I didn't want to break our convention where the title of the podcast episode is the same as of the episode we watched. But I felt kind of a full body cringe posting that episode title. But That's okay, it's behind us now.
It's behind us.
And now we're going to talk about that old black magic.
Which opens with two explorers, one of whom may be familiar to you. It's Jonathan from 30 Rock, or, God, some guy from Weeds. I don't remember the name of his character in Weeds.
Also some guy from The Comeback. And some other show, too. I don't know what other show he was on, but I know that when he was off of 30 Rock for that season, it was because he was doing another show.
That was like Whitney or...
Oh, was it I think you're right. I think it was Whitney.
All I know is it was a one-word lady's name show.
Yeah. That didn't last, though, so he came back to 30 Rock.
Yeah. Which, I like this actor. I'm kind of disappointed he isn't in more stuff.
Oh, I feel like I see him pop up all the time.
So, he and his friend are treasure hunting. There's allegedly gold in those
hills?
Yes, there's gold in those hills. So they crawl into a little crevasse past a skeleton, which his friend points out, hey, maybe we shouldn't go to a place where there are just skeletons all willy-nilly, which I like. I feel like skeletons get used for, like, spooky set dressing a lot, and people just sort of ignore them and don't point out, hey, skeletons are bad. I mean, they're good when they're inside you, but they're bad when they're out and about.
Okay, I want to point out that you said crevasse, but this isn't. This is a huge cave with a giant opening. How is there a dead body that's been allowed to decompose to a skeleton inside of this cave?
Well. So, I feel like maybe we can talk about why no one has discovered a body in this general area when we get to the other people who are exploring this general area later.
Okay, fair enough.
But anyway, these two, while looking for treasure, accidentally uncover a lady who I guess was just waiting for some non-skeleton people to stumble into her cave.
Yes, and to free her. To free her from...
caveness.
Yes. She asks what year it is, and is told that it is 1999, and so she is gonna party like it.
Yes.
Oh, also she has a giant snake wrapped around her.
As one does.
Also, she clearly has a Bernadette Peters look.
Yes. This is real clear pulling from Bernadette Peters.
Yeah, I feel like people were inspired by Into the Woods when they were doing this casting.
Was the PBS recording, like, out and about it around this time? Do you know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. God, if you get the chance to watch that, you should. It's so good. It used to be on Netflix, but I think they took it off.
Yeah, I don't think it's on Netflix now. I purchased it on Google Play for us to watch, so it's readily available. And yes, definitely watch that and not the movie version they did.
It's fine. I feel like we've talked about this before, but The movie's fine, but the play is a lot better, and you can see the play just as easily as you can see the movie.
Well, that's the thing. Why would you watch the movie when there's another better version readily available?
Yeah.
Anyway, not Bernadette Peters says that it's been 200 years since she was locked in this cave, and then she throws a shrinking powder onto the treasure hunters.
Who just stand there shrunken and start arguing with each other. I feel like this is when you try to get away from the witch who threw powder on you and shrunk you.
Well, how away can you get? They got shrunk.
You could get more away than just standing there and watching her approach you, pick you up, and feed you to her snake.
Well, also, they're about to die, so this is the one guy's last chance to say, I told you so to the other guy.
You can do that while running. I mean, I get it. They kind of have to work with the special effects that they have.
Right, of course. The guys can't run because, yeah.
So, yes, this witch picks up the two explorer guys, feeds them to her snake. I like how they were all decked out in, like, Indiana Jones gear, even though they were just in some park in San Francisco.
Yeah, they were basically role-playing treasure hunters, weren't they?
And as in all role-playing sessions, it ended badly.
Being swallowed by a snake.
It happens.
So, the witch pours some more of that magic powder onto her snake and tells the snake to go find her wand. And the snake vanishes to magically go find her wand, I guess.
Do your own work, lazy ass.
Her work is training the snake to find her wand. Work smarter, not harder.
Is training snakes to do stuff for you smarter and not harder? It seems like you're putting in more effort, one would imagine.
I mean, I don't know what it takes to train a snake.
Yeah, I guess especially with magic powder. I do like that magic powder is like her thing.
I like that the magic powder basically does whatever she needs it to do.
Yeah.
It's all-purpose powder.
Is she the witch that Leo visited in the Dishwalla episode? Because remember, he got that powder that made the guy,
Right! No, because she's been sealed away for 200 years, but right!
Let's just say white lighters can't time travel. I mean, it seems like everyone else can.
Right? So, we go from the cave to Buckland's,
where Prue is once again dressed in a business-appropriate outfit? The hell?
Well, I mean, it's a business-appropriate blouse, but she has it unbuttoned to an inappropriate extent. But it's okay because she's gonna be on TV. She's doing a Antiques Roadshow show, which for, I assume, legal reasons, is called What's It Worth?
Oh, it's like that one episode of The Simpsons, Boy Scouts in the Hood, where the group in that episode is like the junior campers, even though the title of the episode is Boy Scouts in the Hood.
Yes. I mean, yeah, obviously they couldn't call it Antiques Roadshow without getting Antiques Roadshow involved.
Would they be upset by that? I mean...
Well, I mean...
There was an episode of Will and Grace where they went on just straight Antiques Roadshow.
Yeah, but I'm sure Antiques Roadshow was involved. I was actually going to mention Drop Dead Diva, which aired on Lifetime and really took advantage of the NBC Universal banner that they were under. So, like... Tim Gunn is in an episode, and Barbara Cochran from Shark Tank is in an episode.
Oh, dear Lord. Wasn't Tim Gunn also in that, like, I feel like it was a Disney Channel original movie where a popular girl dies, and if she doesn't help the least popular girl in school become prom queen, she's going to hell?
Yes. Yeah, I think he was. Yeah.
Was he playing the same kind of role in Drop Dead Diva? Because I know that's also about a woman who dies and then comes back to life with the help of, in this case, Jonah from Superstore.
No, he just played himself in a dream sequence.
Ah.
He also played himself, sort of, in the comic Models Inc.
I was going to reference that, yeah. Which, yeah. Marvel has a really hard time marketing to women, which you think they wouldn't. You hire some women and you have them write a book and then women buy it. I feel like that's...
I mean, I feel like they're getting better at it now.
Yeah.
In the last few years.
do you remember Marvel? Do you remember the Divas book? Where it's like Sex in the City, but with superheroes. And it was like Black Cat and Misty Knight and Firestar and...
I do not remember that book.
Okay, it was one of those things where it was like original She-Ra, where they all look like the same character, but with different, and it was just so low quality, but it was Marvel's big book for women. It's Sex in the City with superheroes. Misty Knight has sex with Dr. Voodoo. What? Firestar has breast cancer again, I think, because that's one of the plot lines they keep going back to with her.
I haven't read that, obviously. I do own the Models Inc. book with Tim Gunn. And it's only okay, but I just keep waiting for a chance to use the trivia knowledge that at some point in the 616, Tim Gunn wore the Iron Man armor.
Yeah, that seems like it should come up at some point.
Right? I'm just waiting for the trivia night where that comes up.
Did he make it work?
He did make it work! Anyway, back at Halliwell Manor, we see Phoebe because she's on the phone with Prue, and she is reporting to Prue that Piper and neighbor Dan are making out in the driveway.
Were they not? I guess they weren't, like, officially dating or anything.
They made it official at the end of last episode.
Oh, yeah, when they were pairing off Prue with her one-episode boyfriend and Phoebe with her one-episode boyfriend, because it turned... Prue had a magical gender adventure which taught her that men are A-okay after all, but we're never seeing her love interest from that episode ever again.
I was going to say that we had an episode that played with gender, so they had to restore heteronormativity at the end.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's with a dude. Everyone is with a dude at the end of that episode.
What's weird is Phoebe has been pushing Piper to, like, get it in, and yet now she's like, ooh, she's making out with neighbor Dan.
Well, at first she was like, ooh, I want to bone neighbor Dan, and then she's like, no, wait, Piper needs to get over Leo. I'm just going to throw her at neighbor Dan, and now she's like, yeah. So, at the auction, Prue picks up a wand, and she starts getting the heebly-jeeblies from it, which really feels like it should be more of a Phoebe thing, but I guess all witches have an affinity to magic or whatever, so...
Right, they can all use magic device.
Speaking of the not devil...
Speaking of magical tools?
God, oof. Leo just sort of appears in the manor. I don't think we actually see him orb. He just kind of walks in behind Phoebe.
Oh, no, we definitely see him orb.
Ah, okay. So... He's like, hey, Phoebe, I need your help with this, like, new magical crisis. And Phoebe's like, you should leave. And then Piper and Dan walk in, and we get this very, very dramatic zoom in on Leo, which it's like, I don't feel like that's earned. I don't feel like this is a dramatic zoom-worthy thing.
Well, okay, it's like, uh-oh, it's Piper with her new guy, but also, uh-oh, it's Leo. And it's like... At this point in the show, we've been told that they can't be together, so she's gonna go be with someone else.
Although, again, I don't think they ever actually broke up. I think they were like, okay, so we can't be together, but I don't want to leave you. And then they just never resolved that.
Okay, but...
And I mean, hey, it's the 90s still. This is back before, one date with someone meant you were in a relationship. Like, Piper never said she was exclusive, to my knowledge, although their relationship is sort of not explored a ton outside of, we have a kid together in the future, and I'm committed to making this relationship work, maybe, except I'm also sort of into neighbor Dan. And, like, we made out, and then you orbed away, and then I made goo-goo eyes at neighbor Dan, and then I kind of hooked up with him in the next episode, so I don't know if I've actually had any interactions with you, in between us kissing and then you leaving, and, me starting this new thing with neighbor Dan.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I don't really know what to say about Piper and Leo's relationship at this point, because even though we're saying they can't be together, the show hasn't really addressed the white lighters are forbidden from being with witches thing that will be the main stumbling block in their relationship going forward. Right now it's just inconvenient that he's a white lighter, and we haven't been told that it's forbidden.
Yeah. Yeah. So
it's almost like it's not so much that Piper is not ready to commit to Leo as that the show Charmed is not ready to commit to Leo.
So Piper is leading Leo away from Dan, and she's like, Leo, you can't just orb in anytime you want. Really, really obviously within earshot of neighbor Dan, but
Leo is all business, though. He's like, look, I know that we have a weirdly defined thing that Max just laid out, but the fact is, I'm here on witch business.
And Piper's like, oh, what else is new? You're never here about us. You're always just here when bad magic stuff goes down.
And meanwhile, in the other room, Dan is talking to Phoebe, and he's like, why do you guys need a handyman so much? Like, for a handyman, he sure is here, like, all the time.
And to be fair, it's a pretty old house.
Which is what Phoebe says.
I know this is the sort of thing you can't think about too much in TV shows, but Piper and Leo are standing one room over having a very loud conversation about magic. Like, there's no way Dan can't hear them where he is.
It's a convention.
So, Phoebe kind of shepherds neighbor Dan out, and Leo starts giving them the serious witch business he's come to talk to them about. Tuatha, which I meant to look this up, but I forgot to. I'm pretty sure she's the witch from the Crucible.
Oh, should we have looked that up?
I'm going to look that up real quick.
Well, her deal in this show, while you look that up, is that she was a good witch who turned bad and started using her powers to hurt people, and she can't be vanquished, so instead she was entombed for 200 years. I want to point out that at this point in the show, good and bad are things that are reflective of the actions you take, and not the show just claiming that a person is inherently good or inherently evil. So I'm very excited that at this point in the show, a good witch can turn bad, and presumably vice versa, although we never ever see that, do we?
Yeah, we don't really ever see a bad witch turn good. I was thinking of Tituba. I looked it up. Tituba is the character from the Crucible.
Gotcha. I guess technically, and when bad warlocks turn good, a warlock turned good.
But, I mean, as a part of that, you know, he had to stop using his powers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, I think this is really interesting. Tuatha, from my brief research via Google, is... They're a group of people who are, like, disciples of Gaelic...
Of the Gaelic pantheon?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So they're like, they live in the other world that the gods live in, but they interact with humanity. It seems like most of them are nature-based, and they're not evil. They're, apparently there's a lot of different takes on them, but they're generally neither good nor evil. They just are.
It sounds like there probably wasn't a direct inspiration for this character, more like somebody liked that word.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no. I bet it's like that whole Hecate thing where they're just like...
Oh my gosh.
Or there's this great bit in one of the Buffy commentaries where I think it's the snake demon in the basement of the frat.
Actually, I think I know what story you're going to tell, and I'm pretty sure it's the fear demon.
I don't think so, because it's... The guy who came up with the name of, I think it's the snake demon in the frat, was really, really proud of it. Mm-hmm. Until, I think, his cat threw up or something, and he went to clean it up, and he realized that he had just taken the name from his vacuum cleaner, the name of the company that made his vacuum cleaner.
Yes, I do remember that story.
Well, what were you thinking of with Gaknar, the fear demon?
Oh, you're right, that is Gaknar. What's the name of the snake demon?
The baby-eating snake demon, or the, like the one from Band Candy, or the one from the frat episode?
The one that you're talking about, the one that was named after the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, the one from the frat episode.
Was it Mashita?
I think so, yeah, Mashita.
That sounds definitely like a vacuum cleaner brand.
Yeah. So, anyway, Tuatha is an ancient evil witch who used to be good, but then she turned evil. I guess that's just a thing that... The succubus had that going, too, didn't she? She was a good witch, but then she made a deal with the forces of evil.
Because her heart was broken.
Yeah, because she couldn't find a man, so... she went evil.
Although this was different. The succubus went evil and made a deal that, like, turned her into a different thing and gave her different powers. Tuatha is still a witch. It's just that she's using her witch powers for evil instead of good now. I think that's a really important distinction.
Yes. So, a different witch sealed her away in a cave many hundreds of years ago, but now she's back and badder than ever. At least she will be once she gets her wand, which increases her powers exponentially. And
she can't be vanquished by any other witch. Yeah. Right. She can only be vanquished by a special person who is the seventh son of a seventh son.
Yes. There is a chosen one who is chosen to, destroy her, as one does. I do really like this because this is an episode where, again, I like the thing early on where there are non-traditional ways to kill demons, or in this case, other witches. Mm-hmm. Although, really, I feel like if the Charmed Ones just teamed up and beat the crap out of her, like...
You think just fists would do it? Just pummeling? Just get Phoebe to, like, kick her?
Yeah, or, cut her head off. It works for most things. But, yeah, there's someone with a special destiny, and they're basically just going to be playing support positions. I don't know sports terms.
No, but you mean you like when the Charmed Ones aren't the only people who can do it, when it's more like...
Well, I like when there's non-traditional ways to, like, when it's not just, okay, we need to do a power of 3 spell, okay, we need a potion.
Yeah, we just need Phoebe to come up with some A-B rhyme.
Yeah, like, it's cool when they do other stuff, and I do like this, even though the guy is just such a massive wiener.
Aw, poor guy, he's just a kid.
Is he? Is he just a kid?
Yeah, he's just a kid.
You sure he's not a 40-something-year-old?
Anyway, at the Not Antiques Roadshow, Prue is talking to the woman who brought the wand in. And she is, doing her, what?
Oh, I've had this in my attic for the past 40 years. My husband got it, at a yard sale for 50 cents. And, I never knew that it was worth $50,000.
So Prue says that it's worth $5,000, and then this man-splaining dickweed comes up while Prue is on television and is like, well, yeah, but things are only worth what people will pay for them. Yeah, that is how that works. And he's like, hey, I'll give you money for it right now, cash on the barrelhead. And it's like, is there not security stopping this from happening? Yeah,
he kind of just voiks it right out of Prue's hand, which one would think the TV people would want to stop. But...
I hate this man. I really, really hate him.
Well, you're in luck, because he's a reoccurring character. This is Lachlan Monroe.
That's the actor.
That's the actor. The character is Jack Sheridan. He is Prue's second and I think last love interest that lasts for more than one episode in the show.
It's so offensive to me that Prue is in the middle of this and he's like, comes in, interrupts her moment, undermines what she's saying, and I hate him. I hate him so much.
Looks like there's more than one smug snake in this episode.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, he tells the woman he'll give her $1,000 for it, even though it's worth $5 because, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush or whatever.
He's wearing black and Prue's wearing white.
Oh, hey, you're right. Yeah.
he pulls Prue to the side. He's like, look, maybe you could get her, that much money, but I could definitely get her this smaller amount of money. And I'm super rich because I'm like one of those. You remember when swapping became a thing? Like that was.
Yeah, I mean that's what Antiques Roadshow was kind of building on.
Yeah. He's like, I'm a professional swapper, and I swapped my way into being a multi-millionaire with, a gold car and, diamond teeth.
When he walks away all smugly, Prue uses her telekinesis to pull the note out of his pocket that has the woman's address on it, so...
Yes, the woman gave him her address so that he could come by and buy it, at his leisure.
Yeah, because he has to go to the bank first to get the cash. Because he decided that he was going to storm into this thing, do this whole mishigas, and he didn't even have the cash on hand to back it up.
I have to go to a special bank. They have extra large, money holes.
I'm not a fan of this guy.
Well, you're out of luck because we've got a few more episodes with him in it.
Ugh.
I think he's even in the past episode, the one where we go visit Phoebe's former life.
Oh, is he? I don't remember him there.
He might not be. It might just be Neighbor Dan, but he's in at least a couple more episodes after this. So Leo has taken Piper and Phoebe to go creep on the chosen one.
Yeah, they're at the high school because this kid is a high school student. A high school student who is getting shoved and pushed around by bullies because his whole deal is
that he's a magician.
Close-up magic.
Okay.
The coolest thing around.
Okay, I really, really like Piper in this episode. Early on, Piper is my favorite character, and she's my favorite character later on too, but for different reasons. But I really like how she's like, Leo, this is BS. Like, he's a kid. You can't let a teenager go out and, fight the forces of darkness. Who are we? The Watchers Council?
Right.
Which, yeah, that is a legitimate point. You should not, you should not be forcing teenagers to fight evil witches. It's bad.
It is bad. But, he is the chosen one.
Chosen one's got to chose.
So Phoebe suggests that they go tell him his destiny by showing him their magic. And my thought is, okay, but Phoebe, your power is premonition. And Piper, yours is freezing things, which will freeze him.
But I mean, it works. They demonstrate their power. At first he's like, what's going on? Are you coming on to me? Is this some sort of penthouse situation? Because I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that. You guys are.
It's creepy.
Yeah, this is creepy. This is super creepy. And Phoebe's like, oh, you think that's creepy? Piper, freeze him! And Piper freezes him, and Phoebe just walks around, and he's the one person who seems to notice when a freeze ends that the person he was talking to is in a different position than they were pre-freeze.
Well, I was going to say, from his point of view, it's not that Piper froze him. It appears that Phoebe teleported behind him.
Yeah. I'm just saying, Piper froze what's-his-bucket, that jackass she was dating for a couple episodes.
Oh my god, she froze him so much.
She froze him, and she just leave. She did it on multiple occasions, so she also looked like she teleported. She just disappeared mid-conversation.
I wonder if there's another story out there where this guy was going to a neurologist because he was worried about these episodes he was having.
Yeah, I mean, he was in the... I wonder, you remember he was the professor's assistant. The professor was interested in the house, and then she got possessed by the Woogie and tried to kill him.
Yes, I remember.
Well, you also remember that they thought the house was having gas leaks, but it was actually the Woogie.
Yeah.
Do you think that was he was like, I was in a house that was having gas leak issues?
This was his gas leak year?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's okay, because he moved away, so he's away from it now. Meanwhile, at the the woman's house, the woman who has the...
Yes, the old woman who owns the wand and is going to sell it to Jack Sheridan. Snake comes in through the window.
Yep, the snake... And the snake, just to be clear, doesn't, like, slither in through the window. It orbs in through... Well, orbing isn't right, because it's not orbing, but
it orange dusts into the window.
Yes, thank you.
I think it would have been funnier if they just threw a snake prop through the window.
That would have been funny. The woman instinctively picks up the wand. That's smart. I mean, it was just the closest thing for her to beat the snake with, but I still feel like it's smart that she instinctually grabbed the wand, but it doesn't help. Instead, Tuatha shows up, snags the wand away from her telekinetically, and then
Prue bursts in just in time to see Tuatha make the old lady explode.
Prue gets there just in time to not save the innocent.
Whoa.
But she does throw Tuatha into the coffee table, grab the wand, and run away.
See, I feel like if she just thrown Tuatha out the window, problem solved.
I'm pretty sure that wouldn't vanquish her.
I mean, she's just a lady with a wand and dust powers, right? I mean, I guess she didn't die in a cave for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Does being evil mean you get all the cool powers, like not dying unless a certain set of circumstances are met?
Yes, it does.
There's this one really good, I think it was a Marvel Adventures Doctor Strange story, where Dormammu had come to Earth, and he had set it up so there was this very specific kind of group of circumstances that needed to be met for this spell to banish him back to wherever the hell Dormammu's from. And it was something like there needed to be 17 red cars parked in a like specific, like it was all just Doctor Strange was trying to get all of these different elements arranged around a city so that he could
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I really like it when magic is stuff like that, when it's like just creating these very specific circumstances so that something, because it kind of reminds me of you never played the Pokemon games, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so in the original Pokemon games, Red and Blue, there were these cheats you could do to like kind of play with the code. If you talk to this one specific character and then went to this one specific location, you could duplicate items in your bag.
Okay.
Or like find Pokemon that were only accessible in like this one particular area. Like you could find them outside of that area if you did these series of seemingly unrelated things, because there was just like this one line of code. And I kind of like to think of magic as that. Like the universe is arranged in a really particular way.
And you're just like exploiting.
Yeah, you're just exploiting flaws in the code of the universe to... Which, it's kind of fun because those games, they were built with like really limited specs. Like the original Game Boy did not have a lot of power. So they had to do all of this like kind of trickery stuff to get as complicated a game as the original Pokemon games were into them. And it's just kind of cool that like one of the neat things about it is that they originally intended to have more than 150 Pokemon. There were supposed to be like 160 something.
Yeah, you've shown me that one Pokemon that's like the
skeleton. Because it just grabs random stuff from the game to bring in when it doesn't have the any images available. I don't know. Just code stuff like that is really interesting. Not to be a gigantic nerd and really, really specifically date myself, but...
So one of the fun things with The Sims, when the Sims game first came out, was not exploiting holes in the code, but seeing like how far the code would go, like how far the programming would go.
Like seeing how distantly related you could get people to be before the incest blockers stopped working.
Yeah. Or so in the original Sims game, Sims would not eat food in a neighbor's house unless it was served to them. So I trapped a sim to find out, would Sims literally starve to death with food right there before they would eat food out of a neighbor's fridge? It turns out, yes, Sims are very polite.
Yeah. Yeah. It's... I mean, that's part of the fun of games, though. It's like finding, not necessarily holes, but just playing with the design of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of the... I never tried it myself because I'm not particularly good at video games.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, like, speed runs that are all just built off of exploiting these different gaps. Yeah. Someone pointed out in the newish Zelda game, whenever you're listening to this, I'm sure it's not new anymore, but Breath of the Wild.
Uh-huh.
Like, if you do this certain set of things, you can beat the game in, like, 20 minutes. And they're like, so this means that Ganon spent 100 years putting all of this stuff together to take over Hyrule. Some elf twink wakes up, runs screaming naked out of a cave somewhere, like, just hang glides off a cliff, and kicks his ass 20 minutes later. Like...
That's embarrassing for him.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed for him. Anyway, back to Charmed.
So, Leo, Phoebe, and Piper are trying to convince this...
Chosen one.
Kid.
He doesn't look that old.
He has a little bit of the Luke Perry forehead, which is making me project olderness onto him, I guess. But he's like, I can't be a chosen one. I'm constantly beat up by my 6 older brothers, and I'm a nerd who does, like, you know, stage magic, and, you know, girls won't look at me, and how could I possibly be a chosen one? And Phoebe's like, hey, shut up. You're only chosen for this one specific ass thing. So as soon as you grab a wand and point it at some lady, you can go back to being a giant loser who no one cares about, and it won't matter.
Right? It's not like you have to be the charmed ones forever.
Yeah, honestly, this kind of sucks for this guy, because it means his whole life is going to be an anticlimax after this one thing.
You think it sucks for this guy? What about his next youngest brother? The one who is the 6th son of the 7th son.
But he's not constrained by, like, oh, there's one cool thing that will happen to you and then nothing else.
Yeah, no, he's got nothing cool that's going to happen to him.
See, no, I feel like it's worse. I feel like he's basically one of those kids who trains his whole life to be in the Olympics at 16.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he has his one moment and he gets, like, a bronze medal, and then his life's basically over.
Yeah.
And not even in one of the cool events, like in ribbon dancing.
Ribbon dancing is cool.
You're right, ribbon dancing is cool.
And I think you mean rhythm gymnastics.
Yes, rhythm gymnastics. What would you say is the worst Olympic event?
The rings?
Like swinging from ring to ring, is it?
It's a part of regular gymnastics.
I think probably, is shot put still?
Shot put's an event, yeah.
I mean, it's like the javelin, but dumb.
I mean, I don't do any sports, so I can't criticize sports.
There's this really good magazine spread that was just all Olympic athletes that I think about whenever anyone complains about, you know, oh, that comic book character isn't, you know, her having muscle tone or whatever is unrealistic. And
does it show women who are weightlifters? Which
yeah, like, oh, she's too heavy to be a superhero. And I'm like, look at all of the Olympic weightlifters. Look at all of them. Of course, that's a whole different kettle of fish, because it's like people are complaining about She-Hulk being muscular. And it's like, she's a freaking Hulk. What do you expect? Yes. I mean, I have other issues with the new super muscular She-Hulk from the new Avengers run, which is, why do you take a character whose whole thing is that, you know, she
maintains who she is even when she transforms, and then take that away from her?
Yeah, you're just making her into Diet Bruce, and then you and then they did this whole issue, which was, her having this internal thing where she's, like, fighting her, traditional She-Hulk self, and it's basically a big take that to people who were criticizing this, and it's like, and she's like, she talked about how she's all like, I didn't want to be a sex object anymore, and that's what inspired this, and like male villains would try to grab my breasts, and now that I'm ugly I can be me, and it's like, you're really not making the message that you want. Like, I'm glad that I'm very muscular because it means guys aren't sexually harassing me anymore. Also, being very muscular is ugly. What point are you trying to make, writer whose name I'm specifically not saying here?
Yeah, we can't get into that because I will get way too angry, because She-Hulk is...
Your girl? My
girl? Thank you. But yeah, no, we won't get into that. We won't get into what they... Look what they did to my girl!
It was coming off a really good Hulk...
Oh my god. Well, basically all of the modern She-Hulk books have been good.
I've seen people smack-talking Dan Slott's run recently, and they're like, it's so sexist. I'm like...
Dan Slott's run is great.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, look, I'm a guy, I can't really... I'm not going to tell women on the internet who are, saying that a run is sexist that it's sexist. I don't see it personally.
Dan Slott's run is great, and also a great place to start with She-Hulk if you haven't read her before. And then Charles Soule's run is great. When she was Hulk, that was a great run. Like, modern She-Hulk has had a great run. The fact that they didn't know how to write her in the Avengers is even more upsetting for that.
Well, it's really clear that he just wanted to use the Hulk, but he couldn't because Hulk was out of place. So he's like, okay, well, I'll just slot her in.
So Kyle's leaving the house.
Yeah, Kyle, by the way, is the chosen one. I don't know if we said his name.
We might not have.
So Kyle's like, I'm no one special. I'm nobody. And he starts barging out of the house. But then Prue comes in, waving the wand over her head. And she's like, Leo, wand.
And when she walks in, the wand senses Kyle and starts to glow. And they're all like, yep. The wand knows.
The wand knows.
Yeah, so they give the wand to Kyle, and
he can feel its power flowing. So does he... we'll talk about it at the end of the episode. But this really does seem like a kind of one-and-done Destiny thing.
It is a one-and-done Destiny thing. He has one job, and it is to kill Tuatha. Although, as I just stated, to be fair, the job of 7 generations before him was to just have lots and lots of sex. So, yeah. Anyway, Kyle has the wand now, and...
Leo is going to train him how to use it.
Yep, Leo's going to have to show him how to use it.
This really doesn't seem like the sort of thing that he really needed to loop the Charmed Ones into. Like, I mean, I get that he's doing it so that Tuatha won't kill Kyle while he's, in training or whatever, but...
Yeah, I didn't really think about it, but you're right. This is the kind of thing that Leo... I mean, it's their show. So, but... Yeah, this seems like the kind of thing Leo would usually take care of on his own.
Although, again, I do really like sort of the universe-expanding thing that this is, because we know Leo has other charges, and it's kind of interesting to see that they're not just future White Lighters or other witches. Like, he's got his... I'm sorry for this... fingers in a lot of pies. Like, there's a lot of destiny guiding on his part. It's not just within this one sphere.
Yes.
Honestly, I wish What's-Her-Bucket from the Dark Lighter episode hadn't just been a future White Lighter. I would like to see more of the White Lighters just having roots that extend all throughout the magical community.
Well, as you've stated in other episodes, it would be nice if the magical community...
was a thing.
Yeah, if there was more of it in this show.
Which, later we get this weird fairy tale BS, which isn't really the same thing.
No, that's not the same thing at all. No. Anyway, Prue is not convinced that they should let a literal child try to take out the witch that she saw blow up a woman. So she says that they, the Charmed Ones, are going to take care of this.
Which, good. I really like this. I really like that they're like, no, this is a messed up thing. Like, just because it's his destiny or whatever doesn't mean,
Yeah.
He's still a kid. Speaking of kids.
Oh, yeah. So Kyle's in the kitchen, and in walks neighbor Jenny.
We said, or I said erroneously last episode that I didn't think she showed up anymore.
This is actually her last episode.
You looked it up?
I did.
All right. So this is her last episode. She's like, who are you? A random teenage boy in my neighbor's house that I guess I just walk into whenever I feel like it. He's like, hey, I'm boy's name. Kyle. And gotta look at this magic stick I got. And she's like, ooh, do you believe in magic? And he's like, I don't know. Do you believe in magic? Why don't you look at my stick?
And then he starts like magically spinning it around.
Yeah, he places it on his fingers, and then it just starts spinning. And Jenny's like, oh, how are you doing that? And he's like,
magic. He just said magic.
And then Leo walks in.
Leo comes in and he's like, no, how dare you break the masquerade? And
she's right there, Leo.
But also, it's like, it's my first day. You just told me magic exists. Now I'm supposed to like be part of some massive cover-up of magic? That's expecting too much. It's too much.
Leo asks Jenny to leave, which I want to point out, none of these people actually live in this house.
I was gonna say, there are 3 people in this scene and none of them live here.
Leo shoos neighbor Jenny out, and he's like, for crying out loud, Kyle, this is your mythic destiny. You're not supposed to use it to get laid. And Kyle's like, it's my first day.
It's his first day.
And hey, maybe it's his job to have 7 more kids. And then one of those kids will have 7 more kids. Until it's the 7th son of 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 the 7th son.
Also, he didn't sign up for this. You called him. He doesn't have to perpetuate your anti-magic conspiracy.
Well, it's true he doesn't, but the cleaners or those demons that kill people will probably get him if...
Yeah, I guess that's... Okay. Alright.
If they feel like doing their jobs that day, which they often don't. So, Tuatha has her own book of shadows, which...
Witches should. All witches should have their own book of shadows in this world, because that's how it works.
I really wish she was a reoccurring villain.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Charmed has a reoccurring villain problem. We don't really get a good one until Cole, and then the Seer, and then basically never again.
Yeah, it introduced a lot of really great villains that then get vanquished, never to be seen again.
I mean, I guess Barbas is kind of a neat reoccurring villain.
Barbas is a good reoccurring villain, but really, you say reoccurring, how many times do we get him? Like twice?
No, he shows up like once a season.
Oh, okay.
He's gonna be in this season in the episode where Prue has to go undercover as an assassin called Ms. Hellfire. A dominatrix themed assassin, because if you're going around assassinating people, the main thing that you want is to be dressed in a tight rubber dress.
I was gonna say, though, aren't all assassins in television dominatrix themed assassins?
Point. But
the spell that Tuatha looks up in her Book of Shadows is the spell to disempower a witch. Yep. And it requires a human heart.
I think we might have some questions for Grams.
Yeah. I was actually going to say that we do a really cool thing where we go from this scene to the girls looking in their Book of Shadows to scry for something that is lost. Like, it's a really great scene transition.
Speaking of major mythology for Charmed, this is like one of the big ones.
Yeah, this is the first time that the girls use scrying, which is going to be a big thing for them later. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot about this.
Oh
my god.
You forgot about this,
I did. I forgot about this next thing that's about to happen.
So, a young man is wandering around the woods filming himself. This might be familiar to those of you who have seen the iconic horror movie, The Blair Witch Project.
Here's the thing. It's not like an homage to the Blair Witch Project. When Tuatha finds him, he explicitly says he is looking for the Blair Witch. And he is explicitly supposed to be Josh from the movie. Except instead of standing in a corner, he gets his heart ripped out by Tuatha.
Does not drop the camera at any part.
Well, I mean, when he dies.
No, he just kind of falls over holding it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We're going to come back to this. But
I'm very impressed that you remembered a character's name from the Blair Witch Project.
And the girl was Heather. I forget the second guy.
Was it Matt? Mike? Statistically, it was probably an M name. But I think you might be right. I think it might be Mike. I mean, you would know better than me. I didn't see it, but...
Wait, you've never seen the Blair Witch Project?
I feel like I get the gist of it. Should we watch it?
Yeah, we should. You've never seen... Wow, okay. Okay, so...
It's a movie that had 2 sequels, neither of which...
Okay, we're not going to talk about the sequels to the Blair Witch Project. But you know what we should talk about? We should, especially since, I'm an old.
Mm.
And Blair Witch Project came out my senior year of high school, which is also, by the way, the same year that this episode came out. And some of our listeners who are not olds might not be familiar with the Blair Witch Project and all of the stuff surrounding the Blair Witch Project.
Which is the stuff people remember from the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah. The deal with the Blair Witch Project is that it was one of the very first movies to have a viral marketing campaign.
Well, it was the first altered reality. Well, it wasn't the first altered reality game, but it was kind of the first movie that was, built around altered reality games. I read this really good article about how QAnon works the same way as altered reality games, which we can't get into.
Yeah, let's not talk about it.
Deep, depressing dive, but altered reality is a cool way to do viral marketing for a movie.
Well, now, keep in mind, this is the dawn of the internet. The internet is just starting to be a thing, so we're just starting to get, movie websites and people talking about things that are coming, and so there are all these websites across the internet that have different pieces of the story, which is these 3 kids shooting a documentary about the Blair Witch. They all died. Their film was found, months later, and it's been edited together, and that's the film you're watching. And this is the story that was put out, this alternate reality game that was put out, and it was so kind of infused in everything about the movie. I saw the movie at a special showing with the filmmakers, and they were doing a Q&A about the making of the film, and there were people in the audience who were still confused about what was and was not real. Somebody asked them a question during the Q&A about what kind of permission they had to get from the families of the dead kids.
I'm sorry, I forget what internet reviewer who did a thing of the second movie, they were talking about, people didn't know whether it was real or not, even though one of the actresses from it was on Letterman, and he's like, maybe she was a ghost on Letterman.
Oh, yeah. Also, one of the Heather was not just on Letterman, she was in a Steak and Shake ad that was airing at the time.
God. None of those careers went anywhere.
No, they did not. Also, they didn't have a script for this film.
Yeah, no, it was basically a director goes out and terrifies 3 very low-paid actors in the woods.
Yeah.
The reason they seemed so freaked out is because the guy kept on jumping out at them and not letting them sleep and blowing air horns at them randomly.
Yeah, he would bang on their tent while they were sleeping, and then they'd run outside and they'd have set up these creepy tableaus for them to find when they ran out of their tents. Yeah. Blair Witch Project. Look it up.
It's one of those things where I feel like probably the stuff around it is more interesting than the movie itself. I'm saying that having not seen the movie. I don't know.
Can't believe you haven't seen the movie.
No, like the commercials for it freaked me out as a kid.
Oh, right.
Sorry.
Well, I am an old. Max is not an old.
I'm not that much younger than you, but I was... honest to God, I didn't really get into horror movies until college. Like, I was still pretty freaked out by stuff up until college. It wasn't until a friend of mine, freshman, like, you know, one of the freshman year friends you get when you first get to college, he, like, made me watch the first 3 Saw movies and the first 3 Resident Evil movies, and I was like...
And after that, you were immune?
No, I was like... Wow, I always thought horror movies were way scarier than they actually are. Like, because it was always the sort of thing I'd build up in my head and I'd freak myself out about. And then, you know, when I was actually sat down and forced to watch them, I was like, oh, really? Oh, okay. And then I got really into cheap slasher movies because it's easy to do work around them. And they were all on YouTube back then because the law meant nothing. But Charmed.
Before we get back to Charmed, I just have to say, I still don't really like horror movies, mostly because I don't like torture porn, which is kind of what we have now. Like, I much prefer a slasher to torture porn.
I don't like jump scares. That's the thing that takes me out of most horror.
Well, I will say, so a torture porn that I saw that really upset me, that disturbed me, was A House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh, God, we get it, Rob Zombie. You're so hardcore.
But there was one death in particular that really, really disturbed me when I watched it, and I've never rewatched it because it upset me so much. But I now know that the actor whose death upset me so much was played by Rainn Wilson, so I feel like if I were to rewatch it, it would not be as upsetting.
I didn't see House of a Thousand Corpses. I saw the sequel, the Devil's Rejects. I swear... And I also saw his remake of Halloween, I think.
Yeah,
Halloween. And I'm like, Rob Zombie just makes the same stupid movie over and over and over again. We get it. Low-income families are scary. Ooh. Like, get a new shtick, dude. I mean, I get it. He's a heavy metal guy who pivoted into making movies. But
yeah, a very specific kind of horror movie. Okay, now get back to Charmed.
Charmed. Yes. So, Leo is trying to teach Kyle how to use the wand by yelling at him and calling him an idiot.
Well, so he can't do it again. He could do it when he was trying to impress Jenny, but he can't do it now.
So, clearly he can only do it when he's trying to get a girl to give him, you know?
Leo's like, it came from inside your heart before.
I think it might have come from lower regions, but okay.
Love the euphemisms, Leo. But yeah, he gives Kyle a pep talk to get him to
believe in yourself.
Have the pep to work the wand.
And Kyle just keeps on trying to spin it on his finger, which shouldn't he be trying to do the
Shoot
thing where
things out of it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good point.
So
while this is going on, the Charmed ones come down from the attic having finished their scrying. And they're like, yeah, Leo, we're gonna go, kill the witch. You guys keep playing with your stick. We're gonna go kill the witch.
Like, I know, blah, 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 special destiny or whatever, but we're the Charmed ones. We could probably just throw enough magic at her and she'd explode. I mean,
we can just, like, hit her with a truck.
Yeah. Yeah, we can just hit her with a truck.
As the Charmed ones are leaving...
Sorry, no weapon forged of man.
Exactly.
That was
Times
then.
changed.
Yeah. God, that was really cool. That was.
Yes.
That I honestly.
This is a Buffy reference.
That is a Buffy reference. I honestly don't watch the first few seasons of Buffy over again that often because they're a really, really good encapsulation of high school, and I feel like I don't really have the patience for high school drama at my age. So.
I understand that. Yeah. Yeah.
But they're really good. They're just a really good encapsulation of something I'm very much past.
So, the charmed ones are leaving the house, and as they open the door, ready to go out and face true evil...
It's Jack Sheridan.
Ugh, I hate this guy.
Asshole extraordinaire.
Have I mentioned that I hate this guy?
So, he's like, hey, Prue, you got a really nice house. Buckland's obviously pays you the big bucks. And Prue's like,
Yeah, he says he... Oh, God. She's like, how did you find me? And he says, I followed your scent.
Gross.
Yeah. He realized that he didn't have the address anymore. He realized that Prue must have taken it from him somehow, and now he wants his wand back. And here's the thing. He keeps talking about it like it's his wand. He has the right to it. It's rightfully his. He didn't finish that deal with that woman. He didn't pay her or anything. So, no, it's not yours.
But no time to talk about that, because here's neighbor effing Dan. And neighbor Dan's like, hey, what's going on? I saw dudes around the house, and I was like, hey, this seems like the sort of thing I need to stick my nose into. And then Leo comes out of the side hall, and he's like, oh, hey, guy.
I like that Phoebe takes over. Phoebe's like, you know what? You three work this out. Leo, you keep training Kyle. We're going to go out the back door and let this happen here.
Okay, so this just seems like you would leave neighbor Dan with way more questions, because what's your handyman doing with a teenage boy and a wand in your house?
You know what? That's Leo's problem to explain.
Yes. So they have scried Tuatha's, down to her cave, so they know where she is. They go hiking through the one trail they got permission to shoot at. They find the single skeleton through the cave entrance, and I'm glad people are pointing out it's weird to have skeletons lying around.
It is weird to have skeletons lying around. Oh, I also want to point out that Prue is wearing a kind of chunky sweater that I really like. It looks super cozy. I kind of want to knit it.
This is sort of a thing. It brings me back to Emma Swan occasionally wearing giant white sweaters and
Once Upon a Time?
Yeah, and Buffy had a couple giant white sweaters too.
Yeah. It's a good look.
Yeah.
And yes, Emma Swan feels like she was modeled after Buffy's look. The more we watched some season 6 and 7 Buffy, the more we were like, oh yeah.
Well, honestly, what really drove it home for me was watching Angel when they have all of the Buffy homage characters like Detective Kate Lockley or other people. Mm-hmm. Mostly Detective Kate Lockley, but there are other people where it's like, oh, I can see the roots of Emma Swan real deep here. Oh, God, Elizabeth Rome is such a bad actress.
She really is.
We made it so close to the end of Angel. We started the Illyria stuff, and it's just like, oh my God, what is the point of any of this?
I mean, we could still finish it. We're halfway through season 5.
Yeah, I mean, we might as well kill it at this point. But, the Illyria stuff is straight out of nowhere, and it really doesn't have any bearing on the rest of the plot.
Yeah, no, they do Fred's character so dirty, which shouldn't surprise us because it comes right on the heel of how dirty they do Cordelia.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Boy, really horrible things happen to the women of Angel Investigations, don't they? Which, I don't get it. It seems like such a weird diversion to take for,
Wait, the Fred thing or the Cordelia thing?
The Fred thing. I mean, say what you will about the Cordelia thing, at least it was built up. I
guess.
It was built up to, I don't think it was earned or anything, but,
At least it was prophesied.
Things led into, there was setup for it. With the Illyria thing, I mean, there was some setup for it, but it was mostly just hey, we're having the really fun episode Smile Time, so something bad's gonna happen next episode, and then it's super goofy at the beginning of next episode, so something bad's gonna happen. And then Fred inhales some coffin dust, and bam, she's dead, and her soul is destroyed forever. And it's like, really? Really? Just so you... And it's not like they needed to get rid of the actress or anything. She's in the rest of the season as Illyria.
Yeah, no, it's It's messed up.
And she doesn't add a ton to the show. I mean, it gives them another fighter, I guess.
It lets them put Amy Acker in leather. That's all it does.
Yeah, she has the weird, evil, magical girl transformation into the demon goddess Illyria. And then she has superpowers for like one episode, and then she gets demoted to just having regular superpowers. And she has a weird flirty relationship with Wes where, you know, he's like, I wish you were the dead girl who hooked up with me just so it would be extra sad when she died, even though we had basically no chemistry up to that point.
Yeah. Whew.
It's weird because generally speaking, I'm like, season 5 of Angel is a really strong season, but going over it again, it's like, no, it has some really strong episodes, but...
Yeah, as a season, it's kind of uneven. Yeah.
Charmed.
So Tuatha has her altar set up. The Charmed ones see it. But Tuatha wasn't ready for there to be 3 witches.
So she gets ready to kill Prue, but uh-oh, Piper's there.
Yep.
Piper's got a pipe.
Piper's got a pipe.
Yeah, Piper freezes Tuatha before she can shrink/feed them to her snake, because I guess that's just her go-to thing.
Sure. And Tuatha manages to disappear before they can vanquish her. Back at the manor, Leo is teaching Kyle to vanquish evil.
Yeah, so the spinny thing was because he had a boner for neighbor Jenny, so if he wants to do Le Blasto, he has to access a different emotion. Leo's like, you have to get angry, pretend that I'm evil, get angry at me, bro. And Kyle's like, I don't think I can get angry at you, just because I know you're a good person and you're trying to help me. And Leo's like, I've been kind of a massive dick to you all episode. You really don't think that you can, you know...
But also, like, Kyle doesn't know him. Like, what, I'm supposed to pretend that you're evil? I don't know.
But also, Kyle has self-esteem issues. And Leo's like, look, if you want to be a sad little wiener boy, be a sad little wiener boy. But know that innocent people are going to die because you can't point a wand at a lady.
I mean, Leo does, like, berate him. Like, he berates him until he's mad. And then he's like, good, now you're mad. Now use your magic. And it's like, maybe that's not what you should be tapping into. But what it works.
Yeah, he calls, you know, he calls Kyle a little dick boy, and Kyle magic forces him with the wand through the window.
That poor window.
That window gets it a lot. And then Leo orbs in behind Kyle. He's like, way to go, bro. You did it. Good for you. Yeah.
Good thing Leo's a handyman, because he's going to have to fix that window.
As Piper points out when she walks into the room, she's like, really? Really?
Well, Piper says, you know, Leo's going to have to fix that window. What she doesn't bring up is who's going to pay for the giant pane of glass that must be so expensive in those giant bay windows.
Do you think the elders give Leo a stipend for his handyman stuff? Because, you know, Leo doesn't really have money, does he?
No, he doesn't.
This will become an issue later on for Leo when he is around for stuff. Like, when he's in a more serious relationship with Piper, the fact that he can't pay for stuff will be a sticking point for his pride.
Do you think at this point in time, in addition to his white lighter duties, he's actually working as a handyman?
No, you know what I bet? I bet it's he gets money, but he can only use it for on-the-job stuff. Like, he has to give them an itemized list or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I guess he doesn't need to eat or anything. Yeah, okay. Anyway, the Charmed Ones tell Leo that they did not, in fact, defeat Tuatha. And, in fact, the only reason they escaped is because she wasn't expecting all 3 of them. And he's like, that's okay. This 16-year-old boy will defeat her.
Yay.
And Kyle's like, no, that's not gonna happen, dog.
And I like Piper. Piper steps in. She's like, seriously, Leo, just because we failed doesn't mean this kid has to, like, child soldiers are a bad thing. Like, you can't be, I'm one of the forces of good, now this child soldier now this literal child needs to blow up a lady.
Well, I mean, right? They're not the Watchers.
They should be better than this.
So they decide that what they're going to do is find a spell in the Book of Shadows to take away Tuatha's powers, because if she had a spell to take away the powers of a witch, then they should have one too.
Well, we know that they should because Grams sealed their powers away.
Exactly. Anyway, in the woods, Heather and, yes, his name is Mike. Heather and Mike, and they call each other by name, so we know that
they're explicitly just the characters from the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah. Heather and Mike are looking for Josh, and the Tuatha witch finds them, and they even do this, like, zoomed-in shot of their faces, like the iconic self-shot that Heather does in the video where she's like, I'm so scared.
Yeah. See, this is why you don't just feed people random willy-nilly to your snake in case you need extra hearts. What would you have done if What's-His-Bucket was alone?
I mean, she'd have found 2 more people, but yeah, she now she has 3 hearts, so now she can take all the powers away.
She's just lucky these people are night hiking.
They were looking for the Blair Witch. I mean, she's lucky that there were people in the woods looking for a witch when she, a witch, was out looking for innocent people.
Yeah, it's like how the Wendigo always attacked people in the same park, but it also only attacked people with this rare blood type. And it's like, boy, the Wendigo sure is lucky that people with that rare blood type were out at night in in these particular locations.
Yeah. Oh,
Speaking of, no Daryl this episode.
Oh yeah. Huh. So back.
They had to spend that money on Jenny.
Right.
All the Daryl money going straight to neighbor Jenny.
So back at the manor, Piper is like cleaning up her wounds, and Leo's like, I'll heal you, and she's like, no, don't touch me, because things are super weird, because I don't really understand what our relationship is right now, and you and me both, Piper.
Yeah, are we together? Are we not? Do you love me? What's going on? And Leo's like, hey, shut up, and he heals her, and she's like, yeah, okay.
That answered nothing. That just raises more questions.
And Leo kind of overplays his hand here. He's like, hey, neighbor Dan is never going to love you. Like, I've been watching your family for a creepy long time, and you know what doesn't work out for women in your family? Relationships with human dudes. Your mom got divorced. Your grandma ran through like 7 guys who she probably killed. I mean, let's be fair. This is how Grams rolls. Like, you can't be with a human dude. And Piper's like, oh yeah, so what happened to my mom when she hooked up with White Lighter? And Leo's like,
yeah, we'll get to that.
She died.
Okay, so, speaking of relationships that you should be more cautious about, Neighbor Jenny and Neighbor Dan are in Neighbor Dan's truck, and they drive past Kyle, and Neighbor Jenny's like, oh, hey, that's Kyle! Uncle Dan, let me out! And he just does, and is like, alright, see you back at home!
Goodbye, my 14-year-old niece. I'm just gonna drop you off. After we were doing a bout of night driving, I'm just going to drop you off with this random teenage boy. I don't know. But if you need my help with a report about sex, I'll be happy to foist you off on the ladies who live next door.
He's a terrible guardian.
He is.
He has, like, no questions. Anyway.
Take good care of my niece, strange boy.
Anyway, neighbor Jenny's like, hey, you want to show me some more magic?
And he's like, I don't think I'm magic after all. Which, you know you are. You threw Leo through a window with the wand.
Yeah. Well...
He has self-doubt issues because he's the youngest of 7 brothers, so everyone picks on him, and he's like Hans. He's Hans from Frozen.
Well, I mean, he has self-doubt because this is the part in the hero's journey when he must reject the call. That's the part of the hero's journey we're on. And he turns and literally runs away.
He runs screaming and crying into the night when Jenny's like, so
Can you show me more magic?
And he's like, no, I can't. And she's like, thanks, D-bag. Now I have to walk the rest of the way home alone, I guess.
So, back at the manor, the snake gold dusts in again because this is where the wand is. I feel like there should be something around the manor that prevents evil snakes from materializing.
Honest to God, it bothers me so much that the Charmed Ones never set up anything to stop evil people from just teleporting into the manor all willy-nilly. 8 seasons of this show and they never set up wards. Honestly, if I was a demon, I would just teleport in at like 3 a.m. and fireball them in their beds in their sleep.
If I was a demon, I'd be like, surely this is a trap. Anyway, Leo comes in and is like, there's a snake.
Snake.
And Prue tries to crush it, and instead all she does is turn it into 2 snakes.
She made 2 snakes. Now there are 2. So thank God they don't lock their doors.
Right. Piper can't freeze it because, her powers have been taken by Tuatha. But Kyle runs in and Leo throws the wand to him and he uses the wand to blow up the snakes.
Her poopsies. It's a Little Mermaid reference.
Oh. He uses his own magical incantation. Die!
I mean, straight to the point, right?
It's effective. It's just as effective as Phoebe's rhymes.
Phoebe's fresh beats.
So I guess now he has proven to himself that in fact he
is worthy of murdering some lady.
Yep. So Phoebe has brewed up a bunch of potions because even though they've had their magic taken away, they can brew up potions.
Good to know. And she's created a special confidence potion for Kyle so that he'll believe in himself and thus be better able to disintegrate some lady.
Now, of course, that's not a real thing. This is a Dumbo's feather situation.
Yes, Phoebe says there's no such thing as a confidence spell, which is blatantly untrue. Piper used one on the bartender back in several episodes ago.
Oh, yes, she did. She did.
Actually, I think it was in season 1, but there is very much a confidence spell, which I guess maybe they can't do spells without their powers. Kyle seemed pretty well confident when he killed those snakes, though. I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt to have a little extra confidence, but...
Yeah. This is reminding me of the episode of Bewitched where Endora puts a confidence spell on Darren, except...
Was that ever Darren's problem, a lack of confidence? She should have made him a non-douchebag spell.
Well, so, it's a vanity spell. Except what it really is because she wants Samantha to see him as a person unworthy of her attentions.
She couldn't find, I don't know, a magic pair of glasses that let you see super obvious things.
Well, this is the problem. If you give your kids something to rebel against, then they might run into the arms of somebody who rejects them so completely because...
God, Darren is the effing worst. I've only seen a couple episodes of Bewitched, but he's so awful.
Just let your wife be a witch.
What does Samantha get out of this relationship?
She gets away from her mother.
Her mom's awesome.
No, I know. Endora is the best. We should... I didn't realize you'd only watched a couple of episodes of Bewitched. We should watch some more Bewitched.
Yeah. Agnes Moorehead's great.
Yeah, I know. Icon.
So, anyway, they're getting ready to fight Tuatha because, she's going to go where the wand is. I guess she didn't need the snake after all. I don't know, maybe the snake told her before it kerploded where, stuff was going down.
Yeah. So she appears in the Halliwell Manor.
She throws knockout dust at Phoebe and Leo, which just ace job there, guys.
Well, they throw knockout dust at her first, and it doesn't work. So she's like, hey, I have knockout dust. I haven't used it before, but I'm just going to show off how mine works when yours doesn't. And she throws, freezing dust at Piper. Again, just, salt in the wound.
And then she wipes the wand away from Kyle, and she's like, boy, you really suck at your job, don't you? Some chosen one. And he's like, no, my confidence issues. It's the one thing that they established about me. And Piper's like, Prue, the confidence potion. And Prue just smashes a tiny bottle of water over Kyle's head. And he's like, oh, I'm confident now. And he has a, force battle where he pulls the wand to him from Tuatha, and she tries to pull it back, and it's just going back and forth between the two of them.
Yeah. Piper's like, believe in yourself, Kyle.
I'm pointing as hard as I can.
Oh.
But after a honestly kind of ridiculously long time, you just see the wand going back and forth between the two of them, and it zooms in on Tuatha, and it zooms in on Kyle, and it zooms in on Tuatha, and it zooms in on Kyle, and it zooms in on Tuatha, and it zooms in on Kyle. And if it seems like I'm going on for a long time, just imagine watching it.
Anyway, Kyle's finally has the wand, and he wishes her into the cornfield, and now you're done. You, 16-year-old boy, have fulfilled your destiny. You have nothing left to do.
Yep, congratulations. The rest of your life is an anticlimax.
Yup.
Wah, wah.
Yup. Oh, also Piper has to wake up Leo and be like, are you okay?
Yep, she steps over Phoebe's corpse to, shake Leo and be like, Leo. And Phoebe's like, I'm fine if anyone cares.
I like that Phoebe kind of curls up on the ground. She's like, whatever. I'm getting some more sleep.
And Leo's like, now you see, the goodness, the fight. This is what neighbor Dan will never get if you decide to bone him. Ugh.
Yeah.
God, yeah, they start talking about their stupid relationship, and you can't have one foot in both worlds, and I have to have one foot in both worlds because I'm a witch, but I'm also a woman, and you can help me with witch stuff, but neighbor Dan will help me with woman stuff.
You know what? I didn't realize until we started talking about this relationship, but given that the forbidden nature of their coupling has not been revealed to us, the audience, yet, why are they not together? They could be such a power couple. A literal power couple.
Yeah, and also, neighbor Dan is really obviously the Paulo.
He's fine.
He's fine. There's nothing wrong with neighbor Dan. Is he Riley? Is neighbor Dan Riley?
Yeah, he's basically Riley without the terrible ending where he gets sucked into the vampire drinking from you cult.
Well, I mean, you remember what happens with neighbor Dan, right?
No, I guess I don't.
He gets obsessed with finding out what Leo's deal is because he finds out Leo faked his...
Oh, yes, I do remember what happens with neighbor Dan.
He faked not being a guy who died in World War II.
He's basically Don Draper.
Yes, Leo is basically Don Draper, and neighbor Dan's like, I'm going to find out what's up with him, and Piper's like, this is so unattractive.
Yeah, neighbor Dan basically becomes Pete Campbell. Which brings us back to Connor.
Yeah, which, it all goes back to Angel.
So, by the way, when Kyle banished Tuatha, the crystal in the wand broke, shattered.
Congratulations, kid. You found out that magic is real and you had magic powers and lost them immediately.
You did the one thing you were supposed to do, and now you're done. Oh, and Prue tells him that the courage was inside him the whole time, lying.
Yeah, they magic feathered him.
Yeah.
They magic feathered him. He was,
They're also like, oh, by the way, don't tell anyone about magic because...
If you do, we'll kill you. We'll kill you dead. And you don't have that wand to protect you from witches anymore.
Yep.
He's like, I'll keep your secret. And they're like, yeah.
All right.
Sure, Jan. No, they believe him. Who's gonna believe him if he tells?
Who's he gonna tell?
Besides, the cleaners will just kill him if he tells anyone.
Like his 6 brothers.
They all pretend he's invisible.
There you go. So, we wrap up at P3.
Hey, no band this episode.
There is no band. There is a man. Yeah, Prue has asked Jack to meet her here at the club so that she can give him the wand and be like, hey, here's the wand. It is rightfully yours.
Now that it's broken, and therefore worthless, and also the woman who owned it mysteriously vanished, and also Jack never paid her for it, so what?
What?
But anyway, Jack's like, whatever, I'm gonna get a job at Buckland so I can better sexually harass you, because I'm super rich, and I got rich through archaeology or whatever, so I know enough of my stuff for them to hire me, and they've been begging me, to start working there, but I didn't have a reason until I saw you. And Prue's like, ugh, I hate that I'm definitely gonna sleep with you. I know slap, slap, kiss, kiss is like a trope, but...
Oh, and it's a trope I like. I just, hate him. A lot.
So, neighbor Dan saunters through the club up to Piper.
Yeah, she's like, come sit in the VIP area. We can do that because I own this club.
Yes, I have a special area cordoned off for me and for me only, where I can wear my most attractive burlap sack.
Yeah, it's not a great dress.
It's aggressively unflattering on Holly Marie Combs.
Which is wild because she's an attractive woman. But she tells neighbor Dan that, yes, there was a weird thing with Leo, but it's over now. She's definitely ended it, and now it's just the two of them, and they can
bone in the middle of her club, and no one's going to stop her because it's her club.
Yes. And Phoebe has no one.
And the cheese stands alone.
And Phoebe was there too.
And Peggy. Oh, Peggy would have been a good Charmed One Sister name.
Yeah.
And that was the end. I really enjoyed this episode. I know we were goofing on it a lot, but...
Well, honestly, this episode is really good. And I really enjoy Tuatha as a villain.
God, I wish she stuck around. She's so fun. I know we didn't really talk about her much, but she is really obviously taking a page from Bernadette Peters as the witch from Into the Woods.
Oh, yes, absolutely. The Blair Witch stuff is so strange. I don't know what to do with it. I kind of hate it, but I kind of love how much I hate it. Like, it's such a bad idea that it makes me laugh.
Yeah, like, honestly, this episode's kind of firing on all cylinders. It's got a lot of the camp stuff. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it deviates from the formula in, like, fun ways, and it takes itself just seriously enough. Kyle's not super annoying. I know we spent a lot of time clowning on him, and the Charmed Ones actually care about an innocent, which it's so sad that our standards are, because we're still in the solid seasons of Charmed.
Wait, by innocent, though, you mean Kyle.
Oh, yeah, no. Like, that old lady wasn't an innocent. She was just some rando.
She was just some old lady.
I mean, honestly, the Charmed Ones didn't actually have a good reason to be here. This feels like another thing where Leo just kind of looped them in because he wanted to talk to Piper about their relationship, but... All right, so I believe that will take us to our power of 3.
Ooh, yes.
Let's tap into the first of our 3 powers, premonitions, where we look into the past, present, and future and see who is, was, or will become famous later, who was in this episode. We're kind of spoiled for choice here, aren't we?
This episode is an embarrassment of riches when it comes to premonition. So, shall I start?
Yeah, go for it.
So, I will bring up Tuala herself, Bridget Branagh.
Speaking of Angel.
Yes, Bridget Branagh plays Wesley's reoccurring love interest Victoria on Angel.
God, it's so great. Her dad's like this high-ranking evil wizard who tries to sacrifice her to a demon in exchange for power, only to find out that, he made a deal to sacrifice his virgin daughter on her, 25th birthday, and he's kept her isolated her whole life, only to find out that she's regularly been sneaking out and having sex with people.
It's the once bitten ending.
Yeah.
And, I bring up Angel because that's our jam, but she also stars in Army Wives. That's probably her biggest thing. And, did you want to go next?
All right, so the next person is Lachlan Monroe, who you might recognize as being the jock guy from the first Scary Movie. or you might recognize him from being in goddamn everything, because he's one of those actors who's in goddamn everything. He's most notably recently, he is Hal Cooper, Betty Cooper's dad in Riverdale. He was also in that. He was the villain in that movie with Santa's daughter, where she's
yes,
where she dates the mailman, and he's like the evil mail boss who doesn't want mail on Christmas because mail is bad for the post office.
There's too much mail.
There's too much mail, and they accidentally have him deliver a good point, which is Santa's not actually supposed to write back to the kids, so it's weird that they hire this random lady to write back to kids who send Santa letters. Which, that is weird. That's weird. Lachlan Monroe's character had a point, but he plays the douchebag in lots of stuff. You'll recognize him.
Yes. So I'm actually gonna double dip.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do a third one here for premonitions.
Mm-hmm.
And bring up we already mentioned it, but Malik Panchuli, who is Jonathan from 30 Rock. Interesting, Jonathan from 30 Rock, according to IMDb, is his most known for role.
I can see. I mean, he was in Weeds, but it wasn't as like a main character. He was just there for.
Yeah.
He was a reoccurring character, but Jonathan was pretty high profile.
Yeah, I guess. He's also in The Good Wife and The Good Fight.
Ah.
Yeah. There's a thing where they're being surveilled, unbeknownst to the people there, and we cut back to the people at NSA who are surveilling them, and he's one of the guys at NSA surveilling them.
Ah.
And yes, he did leave 30 Rock briefly to be on Whitney, and he was on, as I mentioned, The Comeback, and he was also in Web Therapy. So
okay,
I guess
that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's also a character, like, he is an actor who appears in lots of one-shot roles. You've seen him in stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were spoiled for choice this episode.
We really were.
Is that it? Do you want to move on to our next power?
Yeah, let's move on to our next power.
All right, the next power in our pack, Time Freeze. What specifically dated the episode for you?
I mean, the Blair Witch.
Yes, all the Blair Witch references, because even a couple years later...
I mean, references seems too soft a word for what they were doing.
Outright theft.
Just recreating the Blair Witch Project.
I also had... what's his face? The teen boy?
Kyle?
Yeah, Kyle's whole aesthetic, he's basically Jeremy from Zits.
Yeah, he definitely has that late 90s floppy hair.
Well, he has like the teen boy hair horn thing
Mm-hmm.
that, again, Jeremy from Zits had and Jeffy, I think, from Daria. Whichever one was the blonde one. Jeffy, Jimmy, not Jamie, because Jamie was the black-haired one.
Yeah. Sure.
Pretty sure. Jeffy, Jamie...
Joey, Jeffy, Jamie are the three boys.
No, Joey. Joey was the one with the black hair.
Okay, yeah. Actually, I think Jamie is actually the one with the blonde hair.
Yeah. But anyway, it's the kind of blonde, super symmetrical hair horns that were like a thing for dudes in the 90s. I do like how they ended up redesigning the kid from Zits like later on, because they realized how very, very dated all of the character designs were.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, we're going to give him the sort of haircut a teenager might actually have now, him and his best friend. Because I honestly, when I haven't read Zits since I was in high school.
Uh-huh.
And I took a look at it more recently, and I was like, oh, I didn't recognize the two, like him and his best friend, because they have really different aesthetics now.
That's smart to do that redesign.
Yeah.
I like when comic strips do modern redesigns.
Honest to God, Apartment 3G, I know it's not around anymore, but bring it back. Newmark Trail's popular, right?
I would love New Apartment 3G. Newmark Trail is great.
Like, and it's a really easy concept to modernize.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad talking bad about old Apartment 3G near the end, but like, because the guy who was doing it was like in his late 90s. And
Well, I mean, the strip is like 3 sexy single women in an apartment. I feel like maybe...
Very, very old men aren't the people who should be writing it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it was stuff like Margot's talking to someone at a restaurant, but all of the backgrounds are very clearly just the apartment. And, like, I know you're putting it together from clip art, but you didn't have any restaurant clip art. And, like, everything was sort of more fractured than soap opera stuff normally is. And then it's, oh, Tommy finds a deer and she brings it back to the apartment, but then she brings it to a vet. And the vet's actually a therapy vet. And she's having weird coded conversations with him about a fiance, which she apparently had entirely off screen, who died. And it's like, what's going on? Like, not that it was ever a bastion of narrative cohesion, but late Apartment 3G is really weird.
A fever dream?
Yeah, it's a fever dream. There's a deer apparently, but you never see it. It's...
Yeah, no, there's a lot of things happening just off panel in late Apartment 3G. Should we do our final segment?
Yes, telekinesis. What genuinely moved you this episode, if anything?
Okay, so I actually don't have anything because while I really enjoyed this episode, there was nothing really emotional for me. Mostly because the sisters were kind of off to the side, which was an interesting thing to do in this episode. But that meant we didn't have any really strong sister moments. They probably wanted me to feel really strongly about the Piper and Leo stuff, but... Yeah.
Yeah, again, this was a really, really fun episode, but that sort of means there's no real emotional hook, which is fine. Mm-hmm. Not every episode needs an emotional hook.
That's true.
Sometimes you can just have a fun episode where they fight Bernadette Peters.
Yes. Exactly. Well put.
So what have we got on the plate for next time?
Next time we're doing episode 7, They're Everywhere. And the description is... A band of knowledge-stealing warlocks hunt down a young man who uncovered the location of one of the greatest sources of power in the world. Meanwhile, Prue has her hands full with Jack Sheridan.
Oh my god. Okay, hold on to your butts, fans of Supernatural, because we got a giant-ass premonition for that episode.
Ooh, exciting.
Should I mention who it is, or are we going to hold
Do you want to tease it?
I could tease it, or I could just say
it. I guess you did kind of just tease it.
Yeah.
Do you want to just say it?
Yeah, it's Misha Collins, who's Castiel, that angel everyone wants to see what's his bucket have sex with. We are living in the aftermath of
Destiel
becoming canon, and by becoming canon, I mean Castiel telling Dean that he's gay and then immediately getting sent to super hell. I mean, I can't imagine still being invested in Supernatural after the 27 years.
Were though.
Yeah, but like, there's a power ship that's keeping these people coming back for years and years and years, and finally, one half of it's like, yeah, I'm super super into you, and the other half of the ship's like, ooh, I don't really like dudes, and the guy's like, oh, okay, super hell, super hell.
Indeed.
I made it to like season 3 of Supernatural before I gave up, so I don't have the investment, but...
Okay, well, I'm going to tease them next week. In addition to Misha Collins, we have another really well-known premonition.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. We have an embarrassment of riches coming up next week as well.
I mean, this is the thing Charmed is known for.
Yeah. There are definitely... I mean, it's why we have a segment.
Yeah. All right, so I guess that'll about do it.
I guess that will do it. Our show is partially listener supported. If you want to be one of those supporters, you should head over to our website, www.welcometotelevision.net, and click on our Patreon link. We'd like to thank our current $5 and above patrons, Beryl, Patricia, Sam, Cassidy, Alex, Alicia, Ryan, Maricruz, Rosa, Javier, Benjamin, Kyle, and Kate.
If you'd like to support the show in other ways, you could always rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It helps other people find the show.
If you want to talk about this episode, or any episode of any television show, you should join our Facebook page, Welcome to Television.
We can also be contacted at I Love TV Zines on Twitter, or at ilovetelevisionzines@gmail.com.
So until next time, I'm Tina.
And I'm Max.
And this has been Welcome to Halliwell Manor.